The New Way, Episode 4. How does it work? I've attached the previous 3 episodes of The New Way in the description box below. So if you're new to the series, I highly recommend that you go back and watch those previous episodes. How does The New Way work? Well, the North American system is based on 2 main ideas. Number 1, legitimate government operates by the consent of the people. This is a classic American idea that government is a contract between the government and the governed. And it's only when the government lives up to the ideals put forth by the people that that government can be considered legitimate. Idea number 2, government functions best when it's close to home. Governments that are close to the people tend to better represent the people. Think of the difference between your state legislature and the DC legislature. Which one's a better representative of your beliefs, your ideology, and your culture? I'm willing to bet about 90% of people will respond their state legislature. And the primary reason for that is your state legislature is closer to home. It is physically closer to you and therefore much more likely to be ideologically closer to you as well. Legitimate government operates by the consent of the people, and government functions best when it's close to home. Understanding those 2 ideas, we can take a good solid look at the foundations of the North American system. At the ground level, the states are the foundation of North America because it's at the state level where the everyday concerns of the people are addressed. And most importantly, it's in the states that the people have the greatest impact on their government. Think of all the aspects of life that are decided at the state level. We're talking about judicial systems. We're talking about voting. We're talking about education. We're talking about important social issues like abortion, gun control, marijuana, etc., etc. All of these issues are decided at the state level. And because of this, the states are the foundation of the North American system. They're the most important component of the entire New Way. And this is one of my favorite things about the New Way, this North American system, is it retains the best parts of our current federal system. Our everyday lives, so much of it is determined at the state level. It's at the state level where we, the people, have the greatest impact on our political system. Indeed, if you are residing in a state today, you could be living in California, you could be living in New York, Texas, Alabama, wherever. Life today will be almost exactly the same inside your state as it will be in the North American system. And that's a beautiful thing because at the state level is where the people have the most control. Moving up from the states, now we get to the biggest change in our system. This is the one that's gotten a lot of people commenting on the videos so far. I'm talking about the regional republics. The regional republics are the biggest change from our current failing federal system to the North American system. They are the most noticeable and the most vital change from the old way to the new way. And of course, the regional republics are collections of states that are very similar cultures, very similar history, oftentimes also very similar economics. And what these regional republics do is draw down a lot of the power that has accumulated at the federal level. And they bring that power back under the control of the people. For example, one of the duties of the regional republic governments would be the regulation of interstate trade. Among its member states, the regional republics would regulate interstate trade. That's currently a job the federal government does. Under the New Way system, under the North American system, that responsibility would move closer to the people. It would shift downwards to the regional level. Another power that would be decentralized from the federal government would move to the regional government would be disaster response. Think of all the big natural disasters we've experienced in America just in the last couple of years. We're talking wildfires, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes. Under the North American system, the first place the states would turn to in times of disaster would be their regional governments. Why is that? Well, chances are the regional governments are going to be much closer to that affected state than Washington, D.C. is. Secondly, and equally as important, those states are going to have experience in dealing with that kind of natural disaster. They'll have resources and manpower on the ready to go. And I'm talking ready to go in a matter of hours. For example, take a look at the Southern Republic. These states, a good deal of them, have dealt with hurricanes before. They know exactly what to do in order to both prepare and respond to a massive hurricane. So if a state from the Southern Republic suffers from a catastrophic hurricane, the states within that republic, their sister states, can send material and manpower to the affected state in a matter of hours. Those resources will be ready to go at all times. And what's even better is all the states in the Southern Republic will have a plan in place to respond to hurricanes. So it will be a near automatic response. They won't have to wait days or weeks or even months as the people in North Carolina had to do. No, they will have resources coming to them in a matter of hours. Now, the same logic that applies to hurricanes in the South can apply to wildfires in the West. States like California, states like Hawaii, suffering from massive wildfires. The great thing is both of these states know exactly what to do to mitigate those kinds of problems. And they can send help. They can send men and materiel to one another, again, in a matter of hours. These kinds of disaster responses will be worked out inside the regional governments themselves, leaving zero guesswork at all for each of their member states' governors. That is a tremendous improvement upon our current failing federal system. What's great about regional republics is that they also can develop their own supply chains. At the height of globalist America, at the height of the American empire, so many of our supply chains were stretched out across the world. And it was seen as kind of a marvel of modern civilization. The just-in-time supply chain where you could get your product right when you needed it. Of course, when we moved to the pandemic era, we saw that those big, bloated, massive supply chains weren't a miracle at all. They were quite the curse. Because in times of emergency, or even when times are not ideal, those big, global, complex supply chains shut down. They collapsed. And as a result, people could not get the items they needed. In the North American system, each region will be encouraged to start developing its own supply chains. First and foremost, for the necessities of life, such as food, such as clean water, such as medicine. In addition to those necessities, of course, we'll also see supply chains develop for things like creature comforts. Now, these regional supply chains will do a couple of great things. Number one, it'll shorten the amount of time it takes for goods to get from their point of origin to the end user. Number two, it will lower the cost of goods and services, because when you shrink the size of your supply chain and shorten the amount of time it takes the supply to get from point A to point B, you're going to lower costs. This will benefit everyone. The benefits don't stop there, though. The benefits of the regional system actually go up the chain as well to the national government. You think about the executive branch of the national government, the President of the United States and his cabinet and the various executive agencies. They currently have to interface with 50 states. That is 50 different political entities. Under the regional system, the executive of the national government, the president, will only have to interface with 6 different entities. Think about this for a second. Think about this. If you're working a job and you're told, hey, you can have 50 clients or you can have 6 clients. Either way, you're getting paid the same amount. It's your choice if you want to deal with 50 customers or 6 customers, though. It's all up to you. The obvious choice is to go for 6 customers because it's much easier to deal with 6 people compared to 50. For the executive branch of the national government, for the president, it's the same logic. Dealing with 6 regions will be far easier, far simpler than dealing with 50 different states. So this regional system is of great benefit to the people of the states. It's also a tremendous benefit for the folks in the national government, especially the executive branch, because it makes their lives so much easier. Now, the final stop in our tour of North America is the national government. And this national government of North America is much more similar to the first federal government of the United States. It's similar in that the national government is very limited. It is only assigned a very few duties. Those duties include national defense, the coining of money, the regulation of inter-republic trade, creating and maintaining a balanced budget, and representing the republics on the international stage. So this national government will be very much limited compared to the federal mess we see in D.C. right now. And that's going to save the people of America so much money and so much heartache. This national government of North America will stay in its lane. It will do a few things, and it will do those few things quite well. As far as the structures themselves of the national government, it'll look very similar to the federal system we have right now. There'll still be a president. There'll still be the legislature in D.C. Both of those entities will be elected the same way they are today. But their powers over the day-to-day lives of the people of the states and the republics will be quite small. Instead, the focus of the bulk of the time and energy for those in the national government will be looking outward. And the great thing about that is that means a lot less of your tax money will be required to run that national government. So that's the North American system in a nutshell. In many ways, it looks very similar to what we have now. There are some big differences, though. Number one, the states are the foundation of the North American system because it's at the state level where we, the people, make the biggest impact. Number two, the biggest change from what we have now is the introduction of the regional republics. And as described in this video, the regional republics are going to be a wonderful blessing to the people of America. They're going to bring a lot of that power that's accumulated in D.C. and bring that closer to the people. They'll bring that power to a place where it's answerable to the people of the states. Number three, we will have a national government. That government will look very similar to what we have now in our failing federal system. We'll have a president, we'll have a legislature. They'll both be elected in the same manner in which they're elected today. The big difference, though, is that their responsibilities will be a lot less involved in the day-to-day affairs of everyday Americans and a lot more outward focused on the international stage. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Next time, we'll talk about adding new territories to America and why that will be so much easier in the North American system. As always, this is Kevin with The New Way. I hope you enjoyed this description of how the New Way works. And until next time, God bless each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.